While the world sleeps, he's logged in. Eyes on the chart, finger on the trigger, no distractions. This isn't luck. This is war, discipline, obsession, strategy, precision, patience. Every candle tells a story. Every session is a new battlefield. And behind the screen sits the one who mastered the chaos. No signals, no hype, just skill, screen time, and straight up hustle. God is great. Welcome to the grind. So we're going to take a look at how the market played out last week. I'll go over some trades that I lost, the ones that I won, and also the ones that I missed, all right? And we'll also take a look at what we can expect, going forward when the market opens. So let's jump into it. I'm going to start analysis on gold. This is exactly where the market opened for the week. This is a 1 hour time frame. But let's even go on the daily time frame to look at the, top down analysis. So right here, you can see we took out this high. Price created a new high, and that's what the price or the market has been doing. We've been creating highs and high lows, indicating that we are on a bullish trend, right? So obviously we also need to be capitalizing on this bullish move. So back to the 4H right here, the same thing, nothing has really changed. We're just creating highs and high lows. We took out this high, created a new high, right? So this is exactly where the market opens. When we open, we had created a high, right? So let's go to the 1H. This is where I'm able to see structures, when it comes to day trading, right? So starting my analysis from here, you can see high, low, high, low, high, and higher low, high. This is exactly where the market opened, this line, right? And if you go back to my previous videos on YouTube, I normally talk about rising wedge and flag patterns and all of that and the meaning of them, right? So if you take a look at this structure, where price was moving to the upside correctively, I always talk about this, that whenever we see such a thing, it's just an indication that we have bullish momentum reducing, right? So when we see an impulsive move, when we see a corrective phase, most of the time towards a resistance, it's a very, there is a high possibility that price will obviously drop because there's a pattern in the market called a rising wedge. So just go back and revisit chart patterns and you will clearly understand this. So seeing this, it was, I was just anticipating that we could see a move to the downside before a push to the upside, because if I want to buy this, I'm not going to buy at the top right here. Price has already created a high. Why will I buy at the highs, right? So right here, price dropped and then completed the cycle. Those in my mentorship program, they know what I'm talking about when I talk about the cycle, right? So we had at the end of the cycle. Let me just go over the cycle so that you can also get to understand, right? So market moves in cycles, all right? When we're on an uptrend, let's start with a downtrend. When we're on a downtrend, we have an impulse correction or a lower low, lower high, a lower low, right? So when the market begins to pull back, this is the beginning of the cycle. So we have the accumulation phase, the price will distribute, and then it will drop, right? This becomes the end of the cycle, literally like that. So at the end of the cycle, obviously this is a level where price could either move and then change the structure and go to the upside, right? Or price will just break this and create a new lower low, and then a new cycle will begin where we will push the upside and then complete the cycle. That is why when we are trading and we sell at this level, our first target is the previous low, right? On an uptrend is the same. When we are creating higher highs and higher lows, higher high, higher low, this is the beginning of the cycle. Price pulls back to a support level or whatever level gap, whatever you call it, right? Price taps on that level and then you get an entry. Your target is always gonna be here, right? Because price is likely to come here, or even price is likely to break above, right? But your target is here because this is where the cycle began, right? So price reaching this level indicates that we have completed the cycle. So that is the same thing, but there is an in-depth explanation to how I explained to my mentees. So right here we had a completion of the cycle. So here it was either price was going to break below this and then be looking for selling opportunities, at least to the downside, to a level where price will finally break, to the upside, and then we'll be looking for buying opportunities. But price didn't even do that at the cycle. Price created a double bottom at this level. So first bottom, second bottom, we broke the neckline at this level impulsively, and then we had a pullback, right? This was a correction phase to the downside, and this was a nice flag pattern, right? So we had a nice correction towards this level. This is a key level, previous resistance acting as a support, and if I extend it, you can see this was a nice level as well. Support, 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 right? And at this support there was a nice head and shoulder even within this level, right? So the break of the neckline, impulse correction, this was supposed to be an entry for me to the upside, but this is a trade that I personally missed, so I was not able to capitalize on this move. I was just looking at this structure the whole day, but when this happened, I was not even on the chart, so it moved without me. But the next day, looking at this chart, knowing that we're on an uptrend, looking for an entry, went on a 5 minutes, just looking for a way to join the trend. And as you can see, price was just pushing to the upside. We will have a pullback, push to the upside, pullback. So all this time I was not on the chart because we were not in my trading session. But the landing market open right here, we had a drop, a push to the upside, and then we moved correctly to the downside. So this was an impulse for me, correction, and then an entry was just taking right here. So the breakout was an entry for me, and then that was the move to the upside. So even if you look at this trade, we had multiple opportunities to scale in. This was an impulse correction, we impulsed again, it corrected again, impulse, even right here we corrected, right? So this was an exit after seeing this gap right here. Most of the time when we see a gap, price is likely to come back and fill the gap before going to the upside, right? So when I saw the gap, normally I don't even hold my trades to the next, I just day trade. So when I saw this, I was like, you know what, I'm out. If price comes back to fill it and then I wake up and my trading session is playing out, I'll just execute. But when I woke up, price has already dropped, so it was even a good reason to even get out here right after seeing this gap. This one was a loss, and I'm gonna break it down as well, right? On the 15 minutes, as you can see, even on the 1H, on the 4H, we are just bullish, right? So looking for opportunities to scale into the upside. So I saw price just pulling back, and I identified this area as resistance, resistance, resistance. So I was expecting that at least price will bounce on this level and then push to the upside, right? And I'm not just drawing a resistance and buying when price gets to that level. I need a confirmation. So when price got there, I saw this first bottom right here, first bottom, second bottom, break of the neckline. We had an impulsive move, pullback. We even had an engulfing, my entry, but price shot to the upside and then came down to smash the stop loss. So this was also a good entry for me, but it just didn't go my way, which is absolutely fine, So we'll look at another pair. This is oil, and this was also a beautiful trade to the upside. Let's start on the weekly time frame right here, right? So on the weekly time frame, I just spotted, a key level, which was a resistance right here. I mean, I always talk about support and resistance. These are just random levels where price, reacted in the past, but it doesn't mean we are buying or we are selling when price gets there. When price gets to those kind of levels, all we need is confirmation at that level. What is price doing there, right? So this, obviously, price could have just broken below, right? But when price got there, I had to take my time and identify what price was doing there. So on the daily time frame, this is what I saw. Price was just trying or failing to break below. You can even see this wick right here. This shows that sellers came all the way to the downside, but they failed to close below, and then we came back again. So this was a strong support level. On the 4H time frame, just take a look at this. So this is what I saw when the market opened for the week, right? Understanding patterns and also understanding the level that we were trading at. I spotted this a possible left shoulder head, possible right shoulder, and this a reversal pattern. So expecting this to at least push to the upside, to change the trend so that we can start creating higher highs and higher lows. And I had my neckline something like that, right? So with this, we had this left shoulder head, right shoulder. Price tried to break above, we couldn't break above, and then we had a pullback. This is what caught my interest. So the pullback was very corrective. If you look at this candle, this was an impulsive move, correction. So what I was expecting was a continuation to the upside. That is an impulsive move, right? So if I go down lower time frames such as the 1H time frame, price corrected to the downside. Let me just remove this. Price corrected to the downside. So this level, this is a support level for me. Support. You can call it a demand zone. Oh, yes, it's a demand zone, but yeah, let me just extend this and call this whole area support. So I was just expecting a reaction right here. Price got there and you saw the impulsive move. So right after the impulsive move, this was my entry confirmation. That was after the impulsive move. I saw this correction phase breakout. This was on the 5-minute retest. This was just a sweet entry, putting stop loss below structures and targeting the previous high, right? So this was even my target, not all the way here, just right here. But as you can see, price even broke out impulsively. So going forward on this pair, what I'm looking at is, let me just delete everything on US oil. So look at this. Yes, I've confirmed a possible reversal at this level. This level we saw on the weekly, right? So this is a strong support level. We have left shoulder head, right shoulder. Price is blocking this neckline. So going forward, what I'm expecting price to do is at least a pullback and then a push to the upside. This will be a move that I'll be looking at. On gold as well, this is what I'm also looking at. Right here, we are still very, very bullish, creating high highs and high lows. And as you can see, even on the 4H, this is the high, this is the low. Price has created a high. We had a pullback. There's a pullback, which means price is likely to just continue trading to the upside, right? So if you go on the 1H, let's take a look at this. Price is creating lower lows and lower highs. So it means that we are still in the pullback phase. It's a lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, right? Lower high, which means price can still continue trading to the downside to create lower lows, right? So if I should just draw a trend line right here, trend line, this is just a guide for me. It doesn't indicate market structure. So right here, price is likely to even just find a reason right here to drop. But the only time I'll be looking for buying opportunities for me is when we break out of this high, right? If price pushes to the upside and we break out right here, I'll just be waiting for a pullback, and this will be when I'll be expecting price to at least continue trading to the upside. Let's take a look at the last pair, that is Euro USD. I personally love Euro USD so much, so this is the 4H. If you take a look at this is, you can even see the cycle thing I just spoke about, right? So this is the beginning of the cycle. Price just moved to the upside, and then this was the end of the cycle. So this becomes a sensitive area for me. If we break below this, then obviously I can be waiting for a pullback and then at least expecting price to drop a little bit. But if we don't and we get a reversal at this level, then it means I'll be also looking to buy. So right here you can see price didn't break above, but we got to that level with a pattern as well. This is a falling wedge. This is just the opposite of this, right? This falling wedge pattern is just the opposite. So seeing this is just an indication that price is just going to reverse, and that's exactly what price did, right? So this is even a 4H. That's not what price did for the week. I'm just showing you something. So right here, this is what the market did for the weekend. We're going to go down into it, but let's start on the daily time frame. So on the daily time frame, looking to my left, I just don't know where price is going to reverse because we are creating high highs and high lows. So looking to my left, I want to see an area where price is likely to reach and then, start creating lower lows and lower highs. So if you look at this previous high, we had a breakout of that high, right? So that high doesn't even count anymore. Just looking at the next high, that is where we are right now. If we break above that high, then I'll be looking at the next high, something like that, and the next high, right? This high right here, that price broke out, you can see that is exactly where we opened for the week, right? So here price was just retesting that level as a support. You can see right here, this is the high. So we opened somewhere here. Let me just turn on that indicator on the 1H time frame, somewhere here, right? So this is where we open, and if you look at the 1H structures as well, this is a very simple market structure, creating higher highs, higher low, higher high, higher low, higher high. If this trend is going to continue trading to the upside, then obviously we don't want to see a break of this low, right? We want to pull back and then just break this high, continue creating highs and high lows. Price pulled back, we never broke below this low, which means this low was protected, but price also didn't push above this high, right? We didn't push above this high. Price dropped again, so we were just trading in between these highs and lows, right? That is simple market structure. So having this level just to see if price will protect this, and also knowing that this is a very strong level on the daily time frame, is a daily support. So I wanted to see what price will do when we get here, right? So looking at this as well, zooming out, you can see this is a very strong impulse, just waiting for a correction and a possible continuation to the upside. So this becomes an area we want to see what price will do there. As I said, this is a support level. I'm not just buying because price has support. I want to see what price will do there. So let's go to the 15 minutes time frame. Right here on the 15 minutes time frame, what the price do there? We created lower lows, lower highs, lower lows. We got there, and then we had a double bottom. There's a reversal pattern. So a double bottom, break of the neckline, impulse, correction, breakout. This would have been an entry, but personally, again, I missed this because this was out of my trading session. I was fast asleep. Again, we had a correction and then price broke out, right? So this would have been a very sweet entry if I was on the chart. So during the landing session, price was just somewhere here. There's a landing session in my time zone. So looking at the 1H structure, this high had been broken. We had a lower low, lower high, lower low. We had broken this high, right? So just waiting for a pullback. We had a pullback, a push to the upside, another pullback. Price just correcting, very, very choppy, no entry right here. So currently what I'm seeing is we have this impulsive move to the upside. Price is correcting. This could be a potential move that will just push to the upside like that, right? Because if you look right here, this is what I'm seeing. Price created a higher high, a higher low, a higher high, right? And then price pulled back all the way to this low, but we failed to break below this zone, right? We pushed up, we came back to that same lows, we failed to break below these lows, which means this low is being protected, right? And currently as it stands, this high has been broken. So what I'm expecting price to do is at least to push to the upside, or it can even push to the downside a little bit before pushing to the upside, right? So this is what I'm expecting on EURUSD going forward this week.